the way I say it is, the more I know, the more insight I have, the more impact I can make.
So this is what you do the first time we're back together as a family, Vampire Book Club.
Warning, this podcast, Vampire Book Club, will contain spoilers from The Vampire Diaries, the originals, and Legacies. Hey everyone, welcome to my podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Cleo from Legacies. We're going to get into her character development. I have a guest with me today. Her name is Nezzy.
Hi guys.
What did you think when we were first introduced to Cleo? Did you think she was going to be a character who stuck around, or?
I did. I think when she first came out, they were kind of hurting for students, and she was one of the few people that actually stayed towards the end, when everyone else was kind of just like dipping out.
Yeah.
So I think right there that showed like an essence of her perseverance. So I genuinely believe that she was going to stay, and that I didn't know how pivotal of a role she was going to be, but I was excited to see her story unfold.
Yeah, she did have a good story.
Almost definitely.
And then it got even deeper and deeper as we got more of her story than we did like of MG or Caleb's story even. We don't even know how they got turned.
No, we don't really know how they got turned.
That drives me insane. But
yeah, no, I
I
agree. I think we only got like one episode for each of them where it kind of like delves into their backstories.
We get like their family.
Yeah, we get their family. For Caleb, I think there was he turned at school. There was a video or an episode where Alaric is they get stuck in his memories, I think.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, that was a crazy story. And Alaric is with Caleb, and I think it's their memories. Don't quote me on that, but they get stuck in this past version of Caleb's school, and this is completely off memory. Honestly, I did no research for Caleb's
was it like
story
the therapy
whatsoever.
box?
Oh, maybe it was the therapy box. Maybe it was the therapy box. That's a good point. But yeah, Caleb was like, "Oh, like we're in my old school," and Alaric was like, "Oh, like this ain't good, homie. Like this ain't good." And he's like, "Why?" He's like walking all chill, and then he ends up getting to the point where he feels the same urges as that day, and he wanted to go like full Ripper mode, and he just wanted to like consume all of his classmates. And Alaric was like, "I need you to listen to me," like hand on the shoulder, like father type energy.
I kind of remember this, but I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I only watched the Cleo parts as well, to be honest.
It's okay. Like I said, this is from memory. Then shoddy. My memory is not that great. I say I have shoddy memory.
It's cool. Mine's not either. That's why I don't remember it at all.
Funny how we're supposed to be talking about Cleo, and right off the bat, Caleb.
I know. I love their relationship as well.
I was gonna say the same thing.
They're one of my favorite couples in Legacies.
I agree. I kind of like Cleo with Hope a little bit. Like it kind of shipped that, but I like the fact that while Cleo is a muse and all that, like a lot of her powers is like creativity and inspiration, typically in the arts. However, with Caleb, I feel like it brought out a different side of his personality, and she inspired him to be more than a womanizer and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. She inspired everybody
Mm-hmm.
due to her muse nature. He definitely softened up for her though.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw like an emotional, more vulnerable, less womanizing side. I know. I did not expect to talk this much about Caleb. When you first see her, she's so in, like when you first, like when Hope is like going through all this like emotional turmoil, and you first see like how Hope just knocks all of the potential students there out.
Mm-hmm.
You see like Cleo wake up and Caleb is playing the piano, and she's like, I don't. She's like, the only thing worse is like, a guy playing the piano for me. And I didn't expect like that to go any further, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I
And then
think their relationship and their banter really got me because it wasn't it was kind of like a slow burn.
it was,
It gave me like a Damon and Elena vibes a little bit.
but more healthy,
Yeah, much
maybe.
more healthy, much more healthy. I think Caleb had better foundation than Damon did.
Definitely. Damon was definitely tortured in a lot of ways. And just like legacies in general, the fact that they have a therapy box like shows how different it's like also in a different time. Like
Hmm.
10 years made a huge difference from 2009 to 2018. Like the things you could put on TV before that like you don't really see as much of anymore.
Oh yeah, just
Are
TV in general changing the way it has. I agree with you on that. Oh my lord.
um like we talk about emotions now where they didn't as much in the Vampire Diaries.
No, it was all you have to display your feelings and show me that you love me in the most powerful, ridiculous antics possible. Mm.
Definitely. But so I like that right from the get-go, like Cleo's character is all about honesty, integrity. She's super intuitive.
Hmm.
She knows something's wrong. And I didn't even like when I first watched this, I was like cuz you see like some vampire that she's with tell her like the school's in trouble. But like she already knew. She knew what was going on because she was inside of Malibor.
I think that is by far her being inside my. I tried to because I was watching this with my fiance. No, I think she was kind of like inside him. Like that's kind of what the portrayal was going off.
That's what I gathered too. It felt like she was inside of his mud and she was using his mud to make all these different things. I love that. I love that whole story.
Yes, like I said, I was trying to explain to my fiance like her story and like the fact that she was inside Malivore and using his mud, and he was very confused. It did
Because we
not make
see,
any sense to him.
I didn't expect them, like, all of a sudden they started making her, like, it is confusing if you're not watching it. I mean, that's like any TV show, though. They just go from, like, just make up crazy shit.
Hmm. Why
Um,
not? It's a TV show. It's fiction. You can do anything.
it's fun. I like it. So Cleo, she just, like, I don't even know what I was saying before this. I apologize. Is that your
It's
cat?
okay. Oh, you can hear him?
I can.
Yeah,
Hello,
that's the
kitty, kitty.
boy. He's a
So
big dude.
it's funny because when I had my daughter, I was breastfeeding. So every time like a cat would make a certain meow, my boobs would start leaking.
That is the
Sorry for the
wildest
overshare.
correlation ever. I have never I don't have a problem that you said it. I am just baffled of the
No, that's the
correlation.
thing. A lot of women actually have that experience.
Whoa.
They're they. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
I guess I can kind of like attribute to like the mothering of like a cat, like the nursing. I guess I can kind of see how that correlates. But for hearing it the first time, whoa. I intend to have children someday in my life. So, whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. But actually, they say that cats do it on purpose. They make themselves sound like a baby crying, so you'll pay attention to them.
Yeah, it's their need call. And cats actually only meow with their humans. They don't meow to
With each other.
themselves. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so they do that to get what they want from their humans, which is like in that they know, and then the body, because like your body cry, like when your baby cries, like you start to leak because your baby's hungry. So that's like the same thing. They sound like a baby in order
that's
to.
crazy.
It is crazy.
We're not going on babies. We're talking about Cleo. we're gonna get off topic and just have a discussion about anything.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's fun though.
Yeah, it sounds like good conversation. I'm just trying to keep us mostly on track.
Do you have a time limit?
No, like I said, for the most part, I'm pretty much by myself. Um, I don't like I said, I do school, but last week was my like really hectic week. This week it's very chill, and I typically take Mondays for myself. So when you suggested Monday, I was like, "Holy crud! Why didn't I think of Monday?"
Oh,
So
perfect.
I'm pretty good for
Probably
today.
because you wanted to spend it with yourself and not doing this podcast.
It's okay. My fiance is off of work, so eventually he's gonna wake up and he's gonna want to play the video game, which he knows Monday is my day. It's the only day I got. I digress.
What do you
I
guys
let.
game? Do you game too?
Oh hells yeah.
What do you play?
Um, I mostly play RPGs. Like I love Skyrim and Fallout 4. Got heavily into Fallout 76, but we got the PS5, and he's the only one with the PlayStation Plus. So his saves transferred, mine don't.
That sucks.
Yeah. So I just jumped back into Fallout 4, and I like to play with mods. I platinumed Skyrim, and then Fallout 4, I've done played the game to death. So I'm like, I'm gonna add mods. He's like, you're not gonna get trophies. I was like, I don't care. I like to build, and I want stuff that I can't build with.
That's cool. I played Fallout a little bit. I don't have time to really do any of that stuff, but
Yeah, I feel like you really have to make time for gaming, especially once you have kids. You
you
don't
have to make
have the
time
free
for
time.
everything.
Yeah, you just don't have that free time.
You can't even
But
pee by yourself for the first 5 years.
oh no, my mom still can't pee by herself. Oh, mom, hey, mom,
Exactly.
what are you doing? I'm trying to take a shit. Can I talk to you real quick? No, but the door is open. My door don't lock. Real conversation. Oh, but
No,
other than that,
trust
I
me, it's
mean,
the same conversation I have with my kids regularly.
so you're gonna still be having it in like another 10 years. I'm telling
Oh, good to know.
you. But other than that, he plays almost any damn game. The man has no restrictions. He's like, I want this game, and then he'll try it like for 2 days, and then he'll never touch it again. But recently, we've been trying to get into like two-player games that we can both play together because I'm very much again witchy individual. Uh, we don't really have a lot of like intimate, not sexual, but intimate moments where we're just like connecting and stuff. So I try very hard to find things that we can do together because he's kind of standoffish and emotionally available, but well, man, isn't. Difference is
I
he
don't
has a
know.
woman, right? The difference is he has a woman who's just like, we need to nip this in the bud. So we try to find things that like are on a mutual ground. So we'll play games like It Takes Two or golf with friends and just a whole bunch of other fun crap that we just like to play with each other.
Well, that's awesome. I hope you guys like figure it out and get there all the way. That's awesome that you take like time to actually work on your relationship. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, we've been together for 6.5 years. He proposed October. We were hosting this asshole, in asshole in the best sense. Uh, we were hosting a Halloween costume party at my house.
Fun.
Uh, oh, it was so fun. However, I did not know he was going to propose, and so I'm
Oh,
over
he
there.
proposed at a Halloween party?
Yeah, at our own Halloween party, nonetheless.
Was it on Halloween?
No, it was like on the 28th. It was that Saturday
Okay.
before.
I was
But we
just
had all of his friends come over. My best friend was there. I had family. One of my oldest nieces came because I have older siblings older than I, and just a whole bunch of his coworkers came. He got that day off. Originally, he was supposed to work that day, but he like walked up to his bosses and he was like, "Hey, man, like I put in for this day and y'all didn't give it to me, but I intend to propose to my girlfriend." And they were like, "Man, you know that's more than worth having a day off. Take it. don't worry about your schedule. Live your life. Just go enjoy that. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's cool that it was at a Halloween party, though.
Oh
Matt,
yeah, I was dressed up
what if
as
you
like a
said
cute
no?
witch. Oh my god. I should have, just to like fuck with everybody, because everybody knew. Everybody knew I was getting proposed to except for me. And it was so bad because the second he was trying to actually propose, we were inside and I was full hostess mode. I like wasn't really drinking that much, even though I was supposed to be drinking. And everyone was trying to get me to go outside, and I just kept telling everybody like, I want to talk. His name's Jacob. I was like, I want to talk to Jacob. Like, I want to talk to Jacob, just because I wanted to know like what his headspace was at, and how did he feel the night was going. Like, a lot of his friends had shown up, so I was trying to just like gauge how he was feeling about the night. How did he think it was going? And they
Yeah.
wouldn't let me talk to him. I kept telling everybody like, let me take him to the room so I can have a like take a beat with my man. And they were like, no, go outside. And so I was getting really, really agitated and frustrated. And they're like, go down, go down. And I was like, can y'all leave me the hell alone? Like, I just want to talk to my dude. And then he goes and he starts this big old speech. And I'm like, okay, I'm supporting. So I just stood there with my drink in my hand. And then he turns around and he looks at me and he's trying like getting into the proposal part. I like my family is recording this obviously, and you literally catch my face because like I put my drink down and I was like, oh, oh, it's time, it's happening. So I put my drink down and he like comes up to me and he's like, are you gonna say yes? And literally the whole crowd in an uproar goes, you haven't asked, because he forgot to fucking propose. He was just on his knee and like looking at me, and everyone's like, dude, like you actually have to ask the question for her to say yes.
That's so funny. Are you gonna say yes? To what?
Uh, yeah, to what? He was like, oh, my bad.
That's funny. Well,
Oh,
let's get back on topic. That's a really cool story.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did he do it on Halloween? I gotta ask one more question. Did he do it on Halloween because like you like Halloween, or
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
He
figured
did.
with your witchy
Mm,
background?
yeah, yeah. I was dressed up as a witch too. I was the
Perfect.
happiest I could be. So he hit the nail on the head. He really did. Although
That's
I did all
awesome.
the decorating with my best friend. So I decorated my own engagement party.
Perfect. You know you'll like it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I was definitely very fond of the decorations that night.
So back to the topic at hand, Cleo.
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do you feel about her? What do you?
I
I don't even know what to. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll work through this together. How do I feel about I really liked her as a character. So I'm gonna go into like my synopsis of her,
Okay.
and then maybe you could go ahead and give me like yours.
Okay.
So what I really enjoyed is the culture difference, because obviously um, we have black characters, and we have MG, we have Caleb, and even in the originals we have Marcel, and they all kind of started as main characters, and she's the only character that was built up
Yeah,
from nothing. And
that's
what I
true. I didn't even
appreciate,
notice that.
yeah, I know, I'm a psychology student, you have to understand. I go to school for psychology. My whole thing is like breaking down people.
Good for you.
um so and we see the modernity of Caleb and MG, and whereas Marcel, we see some more historical context, him being born to a slave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with her, she had African lineage and heritage and powers, and she was considered the muses of muses. because she's the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter.
Yeah, I think they were all just witches, right? They were all witches except for the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter.
Well, in general, seventh daughters are muses. So her mom was a seventh daughter, which is why the scene when Malivore comes to take a muse, the mom was like, "I have to go."
Well, it was the
But
grandmother because it's the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter. So she even calls her grandma,
okay, then it
like
was
in
her
the
grandma.
scenes.
I think in my head, her grandma looked too
I thought
young,
it
so I
was
was
the
like,
mom
"That's
at
her
first.
mom."
Yeah, I thought it was
Totally
the
looked
mom.
too young.
She was young. And I totally thought it was her mom too at first until I heard her say grandma and I'm like, "Oh, okay, it is her grandmother." Cuz it didn't make sense when they were saying seventh daughter of the seventh daughter because that would be
hmm
a granddaughter.
Man, I'm dyslexic. That makes no sense.
Two
I'm trying.
daughters, granddaughter.
Yeah. See, the way you said it, that makes much more sense.
It's
But
confusing.
yeah, so she's considered the muses of muses because she's beyond just a muse. She's the double layered, it's like an amplification of her powers. And
Yeah.
I love that in her first flashback when she's showing Alaric her origin. No, not Alaric. It's when she's sharing with Caleb her origins. You see her as just like this little kid, and she makes a frog stop in its tracks. And I think that it's so crazy because as a young witch, you're learning powers. You're barely starting. Like, I don't know. It makes me think of like a Harry Potter and like Wingardium Leviosa. Like, you're learning how to levitate something, and it's as
Yeah.
simple as a feather. Whereas she's stopping a whole inanimate object, or well, not inanimate. She's stopping a whole,
Animal.
yeah, a whole animal. And granted, it's a frog, so it seems small or whatever, but like that's a lot of power to have at someone who's like probably like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
And then I think what I also really, really enjoy about her is the scenes where she's actually doing magic in contrast to Hope. Because
Yes. Their magic is very different.
yes, oh my gosh, I have never seen anyone do the same magic that she had done in any of the series, and it completely baffles
Yeah.
me.
Not even like Freya or any of the other older ancient witches, and but she comes way before Freya and the
Mhm.
Michalsons in general.
Mhm.
And I really
Yeah.
like that too, because like I think the oldest that we see, the old up until this point, is Silas, which was 2,000 years prior. But I think she's even older than that. No,
No, she's a couple centuries years old. I would say because she also met like Leonardo da Vinci, but most
well,
of her
she said
time was in
something about a
captivity.
millennia. They were talking about something to do with like it was a millennia before I even got to this point.
Oh wow, really?
Maybe I'm confusing. You know what? Maybe it was Jen that actually said that in that point. She was talking to one of the gods, like Jen.
Mm, don't even get me. How did you feel about the gods?
I actually like the storyline, but I think I I liked it, I like Cleo's part in this.
Okay,
Um I actually think that was one of their better storylines. They just spent way too much time on Malivore. I was like ready for anything else.
I can agree with that. I can. I felt like we were all very interested in Malivore in the at the jump because I don't think anyone's kind of like done a take on that, like a monster eating entity. So I thought that was like a really interesting like caveat. However, the amount of artifacts and like every episode was not only that artifact, it was finding out the artifact, finding where it was, getting the artifact, keeping the artifact away from the monster. It's like every episode was the same thing
It was
for
very
so
tedious and
long.
it went on for 3 seasons. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I think
Nobody
at most 2 seasons, but like
one and a half.
yeah, no, I was gonna say like 2 seasons, but like towards the halfway point of season two, they should have started some type of transition.
Totally.
That's how I think
And
I
I
would have
think
been
they
much
messed up.
happier.
I think they messed up starting out with something where Hope needed to be the Tribird they should have started out with like a simpler villain before they needed to make Hope the tribrid.
I agree. I really think they should have done like if they wanted to do Malivore, I think they should have done like if they wanted to stretch out the Malivore thing, they should have done each monster a season
Deeper, yes. They
for
could have done
three
that. That would have
seasons.
worked.
Like
That would have made sense.
like if they could have done the Gargoyle the first season and then the Necromancer the next and then the what
I
was the
love
other
the
one? The
Necromancer.
Oracle. Oh yeah, Ted. When I was watching that with my best friend and we were dying because I am Ted. You're such
I
a silly
also like that
character.
he's connected to Klaus, um, and brings him up like he was my best business in the 20s
Hmm.
or whatever.
Oh my god. I what another one that I really liked was the Sphinx, the Oracle.
Yeah. So they keep calling Cleo an Oracle, and I didn't really get like if she was a mute, like if that's the same thing, because they called her an Oracle, they called her a Fury, they called her a Muse, a Witch.
Oh, this is a good topic. This is a very, very good topic.
What did you I don't even know what she is at this point.
I know I feel like I kind of understood the Fury part. The
Yeah, that
Oracle,
actually makes sense to me too because it had more to do with like the gods. It had something
yeah.
to do with the
Like they were the only she was one of the only entities that one could communicate with the gods and two
they
put the
feared
gods
her.
in their place. Yeah, they
Yeah.
fear her. So I like that one. I like that title that she held, the power that she held with that. The Oracle, was it her who saw like did like the Doctor Strange type thing and kind of like saw the outcomes when fighting
Yeah, and
the
then I
gods?
think that's how she became the Fury, right? Because she got into their heads and then changed the outcome from it.
Mhm. Mhm. But like is that is that the time that they started to call her the Oracle at the same time, or that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't remember when they
Yeah, I
initially
was
started
trying
to
to
call
figure
her the
that out too.
Oracle.
I couldn't really see it because I was like, what's like I thought all witches could see like visions if they needed to.
Girl, in reality, it don't work like that. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, in a way, yes, because like even now in like modern witchcraft, like there's tools. Like it's not like a direct sight line
Well,
into.
that's not true for everybody because some witches can see like can communicate with the dead, some witches can like hear things,
Mm,
some see things. Like it depends on you, I think specifically.
one, it depends on like the length of time to your heritage. Like it just kind of depends on how you were brought up and how much time you invested into learning those skills. Like for example, like my mom in reality, my mom, uh, she very prophetic dreams, like so many times that she's told me like she's woken up and then like in 2 days like her dream will come true. In fact, there was this time when I was a kid, I begged her. I was like 9. I begged her not to go to work. Like I was like clinging onto her shirt and it was like bedtime for me. I was like, don't go. And she didn't because I was crying up a storm. And sure enough, her store was because she had a convenience store for a couple. Her store was held at gunpoint.
Oh my god. And you like had a bad feeling?
Yeah, I could not shake it. I was like shaking and grabbing her like imagine like your kid going up to you and like grabbing your shirt like by the collar and was just like, "Mom, please don't." Like that's how I was, and I was like, "You can't go to work." I was like, "Don't leave me." And sure enough, she was got called later in the night that the store was called at pulled up at gunpoint, and they took a whole bunch of beer and the cash from the register.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
My mom's actually a lot like that as well. My mom has really crazy dreams. She's like had dreams about people dying and then it comes true. She's like really afraid of it. Um,
the worst thing you could do
however,
is be afraid.
that's what I told her. And but she's got a lot of other issues she's working through. That's a separate subject. Anyways, she so one time though, she told my dad not to go to work and he did because he didn't listen. She's like, I just have a really bad feeling. And so like he texts her, he like called her and said like, "Hey, I just fell off the roof." Like he was a carpenter, and my foot went through the like my bones went through my skin, and like she thought he was pranking him. But
Jesus.
it was legit. He fell off the roof and
His bone splayed.
yeah, his shin, like the bone there. I don't even know what
Oh,
it's
that's
called.
one of the
Sorry.
hardest bones to break. That's gachos. I'm
So he
Hispanic.
landed on his feet, but he had actually done this 20 years before this fell off a roof and shattered his old ankle. So it was made out of titanium. So it broke there because he landed on his foot, and that's like the weakest point, and it came right through the skin.
Ay, ay, ay. If I say something you don't understand, I might be speaking in Spanish. I don't speak a lot of Spanish. Usually when I like am flabbergasted, I'll say something in Spanish.
It's cool. So what were we talking about that even got us here? Oh, witches and
Her being an oracle.
yeah. So I was trying to find the exact point where they started calling her, or if it was just the gods that started calling her that, or if it's when she started having the visions like that.
I kind of have vague, it's hilarious to say it this way. I kind of have vague memories of her having visions. I just think that's a funny sentence. um, but I think the problem is I can't remember like the significance of them.
And she gives people visions a lot of the time too. So I don't know if that's where that comes from. Because like that I thought was specifically like vampires could do that. They could like get into your head, but she's able to just share her visions all the
I thought they
time.
were more her memories, like
Yeah, but
I
she's
guess
still able
visions
to
of her
project.
memories.
She's still able to they are her memories, but I thought she could do that with visions too. I thought there was at least one incident.
I
I
think you're
can't think
right.
of what it is specifically right now.
Ooh, okay. There's actually this one because I remember we were talking about the difference in her magic between hers and Hope's. There was this there was this one scene that I was watching in the clips of her using her magic and stuff that really stood out to me. But it's when Hope and her are in the forest and they run into the banshee,
Yeah.
and we have seen Hope essentially mute people before, right? But their lips are kind of like either gone or like just almost glued shut.
Yeah.
When Cleo did it, however, the banshee's lips were sewn.
Yeah, and I was always wondering if that was because like they were both with Matt, or did she create the banshee?
No, I think the banshee was one of the ones that came after
Before?
her.
Oh,
No,
after.
yeah. So originally the monsters are going out for the artifacts. However, once she escapes, Malivore had been tracking her down, and when she ends up going to the Salvatore school, which is coincidentally the place that Malivore is hitting, and the monsters return back to him, they're kind of like informing him more and more of what's
Well, because
going
she's
on.
been gone for a while.
Yeah, she had been gone for a good while, but she had gone into hiding. So
Yeah.
when she goes to the Salvatore school, she comes out of hiding. So
Gotcha.
once Malivore's monsters are reporting to him that, you know, hey, that one chick you were always talking about that you miss, yeah, she's there. Or I think I saw someone who looks like that girl you're always talking about. I think she's there. So he then starts sending monsters specifically after her. But she did create certain monsters like the leprechaun, I think it's Chiron, the ferryman,
Yeah. I think it's Chiron.
right?
I don't know.
Uh, he's one of
He's a
my
planet.
favorites.
It's a planet. So the planet is pronounced Chiron.
Wait, Chiron's a planet too?
Yeah. Like
That's weird.
it's a small planetoid or something.
Like
It's the
Pluto.
wounded healer.
Hmm. The more you know.
I'm really into astrology, so that's like something I'm working on right now. If you can help solve, like if you can help heal your Chiron wound,
Ooh,
it's
okay.
it's better for your life's purpose.
Do you know anything about like your birth chart?
I do. I love reading them. I'm learning to read birth charts. I'm not like 100% at it.
I
Yeah.
recommend getting a app called Astro Matrix. I'll type it
Okay.
into the chat for you. I got it. If you know your birth time, that works. Also, huge insights to your children.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm like, I don't know what this means for me, but both of my kids have Capricorn moons and Pisces suns.
Me too. Well,
You have
I'm a Pisces.
March or February?
Uh, I'm a March
March what?
Pisces.
If you don't mind me asking.
I was born March 18th.
March 18th?
Yeah, so I'm barely a Pisces. I could have
Well,
been
you're almost
Aries.
an Aries. So my both of my children, they're born March 11th and March 15th.
Ooh, they're gonna be emotional little handbags.
Oh, they already are.
That's the name of the app. You type like any other basic birth chart. You type in your name, your date of birth, your time
Yeah,
of birth, and your location, and it gives like this beautiful, beautiful synopsis of your personality aspects and what drives you and your motivations. Just it goes so in depth. It's
that's
so
really cool.
awesome. Although
So,
I haven't seen where it says the Chiron wound, so it doesn't get into
well,
that type of
Chiron
thing.
is like one of the things in my birth chart. So I have Chiron in the eighth house.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't show you your Chiron on this?
Not that I have seen,
Interesting.
but
Are
it
you
does
into human design at all? Just curious.
define human design
Okay, so
like
it basically takes like four different ancient like astrology, the chakra systems, and a couple other things that are put together. So it's the same way that if you would look up your birth chart, but it
mhm.
basically tells you like your energy type, and that's something that I've been using a lot to help myself as well. So I'm a man. There's like five different energy types. One of them is technically a non-energy type. There's manifestors, projectors, generators,
Hmm.
reflectors. It's really cool.
No, I haven't heard of that at all, but that sounds
It,
incredibly insightful.
it's very deep. I don't fully understand it, but
What is
it's
it
to
called?
help human design. I use this app, but they've literally just changed everything not that long ago, and I don't like it as much, so I'm looking for another one. I use my bodygraph.com, um, but there's so many free ones out there, but they changed it. It was way better before, and now it's not. I can't even type in the chat. Oh,
What
there it
really?
is. Oh no, I found it.
Yeah, sorry, I got quiet for a while. I typed in human design and then I typed in my body graph just so I can get
Yeah.
a few conceptual ideas. But that's really, really interesting. I see you.
It's so insightful.
I feel like this conversation went towards spirituality.
It did. That's okay.
That's so much more fun. Spirituality is such a topic to delve into. And
I wanted to
coincidence,
make a podcast about that, and I eventually will, but I just figured this already has such a strong following, it would be easier to get people
I feel like
interested.
I feel like maybe you should add like as a closer, like on your closings, maybe every so often, like I'm considering starting a new podcast. Please, if you guys would like to see that, show your support and then list whatever ways they could show you support that they'd be interested in it.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I
you have
won't
an
be
idea.
I wouldn't be able to start it until September because, like, I'm not going to start another project with my kids home because that will be crazy. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm down to be a guest on that one too.
Cool. I'll
I've
definitely
been
reach out when I start doing that.
cool. I've been I'm trying to figure out how I am going to say this. I grew up Catholic, but by the time I
Okay.
was like in 7th grade, I was like going through like the worst years of my life, and I was so young. Uh,
That is pretty young to have. And still to this day, it was the worst years of your life?
oh, it had the worst impact on me.
I'm sorry. That's
It's
rough
okay.
at 7.
I've grown, and I've gotten a lot better about a lot of things. Even now, like I'm not the same judgmental or critical person. I'm still pretty critical. I don't consider it critical. I consider it analytical. Like I analyze everything, but
That's a good perspective.
I try not to criticize. Like I can break down a situation without being like, "Well, that was stupid." I can be like,
Yeah,
"No,
and
this is how it happened."
that's important.
So when I was in 7th grade, like I was just going through. I called them my hell year, just because like I was going through so much at the time, and I kind of I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed because that's what you're supposed to do. And I know prayer isn't about immediate gratification. However, I just felt like there was no movement. And I just felt completely abandoned by the faith. So when I met a friend who was interested in Wicca, they were telling me all of this stuff about Wicca. I was like, that's really cool. You're telling me that you don't have to pray to a god, and then that I can do things on my own. So I got into reading about that, but then I didn't really like Wicca because it sounded a little too much like organized religion, and it is. It's very much an organized
Yes,
religion,
I would agree.
but that's just not me. I don't like organization. I'm everywhere because I make no damn sense. Um, but I make it make sense. I swear I do.
I understand.
So I
At
understand
least
completely.
I'm
What's it called? So I started researching and I'm telling you, I'm 7 years old and I am in my library. I am on my computer. I am reading books. I got into palmistry. I have like all my notes from 7th grade about palmistry. That I drew hands, and I am not a
so
drawer.
you were more like 12, 13, because we both said 7 years old, but you meant 7th grade, right?
Oh yeah, I said seven. I meant 7th grade.
I
I'm so
said it
sorry.
too before. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Wait, did I get that right?"
yeah. I was in 7th grade, and so I started reading Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, all the isms. I was reading them all, and I came to paganism, and I loved how it was so rooted and centered in the earth and just natural aspects. And
It's not what people think it is. It's
I
not.
agree. It really is. And like when I tell people like I'm a practicing pagan, they're like, so you do witchcraft? Yes. So you're out here hexing people? And no. Like I'm not the type that's all love and light and only do things for the good, but I'm also not out to get anybody. I'm just living my life and putting flowers and spices together that make me happy and might encourage money coming my way and add a little cinnamon to
Abundance.
my coffee or something. Like that's what I do.
Yes, no, I hear you. I'm the same. I don't really say that I'm not really a practicing witch, but I'm into it. I have lots of crystals around my home and runes and stuff like that.
I wanted to say something, but it's a little morbid.
That's okay, go for it. I can take it out if you don't want it to be on the podcast.
Okay, well, I can just because you have a general idea. You remember how I said I had a family member pass away?
Yes.
It goes a little beyond that. It was actually my dad's brother who passed away, and then like a week later, his wife passed away.
Wow.
And yeah, It's okay. Well, actually, it happened like January 1st or June 1st, and then like June 6th or 7th. So it was
Wait,
so
like this
sudden.
year?
Yeah, yeah, this month.
I am so sorry. June
It's
6th is my
okay.
birthday.
Oh,
Seems like a
I'm so sorry.
no, that's okay. Don't be sorry. I'm sorry you lost somebody.
So,
Two people. That's awful.
yeah, well, yes, in the sense that they're gone. However, they're not. Oh my God, my throat got dry. Give me a second.
Oh, maybe they don't want you to share what you're about to share.
Right. And the spirit said, "Shut up." Um,
Now
no,
I'm even more curious.
I really couldn't believe like how dry my throat really got. Like it just felt like rashy. But my Theo passed away first. My dad found him after he had passed. Well, actually, he was in their apartment, but my tia herself, tia means aunt,
Mm-hmm.
um, she was already in ICU. She had like a very, very bad accident. So she was already in the hospital. So when she passed, or when he passed, her sisters went over there to tell her. And then, like in 2 days after that, like she passed away.
Wow. Do
But
you think their souls were like supposed to be together
oh,
or
absolutely, absolutely. So my tia, bless her soul, she is a witch. She was a witch. Uh, very. I can hear the birds in the background. It sounds so sweet.
Sorry, yeah, we
Sorry,
got a lot of birds.
that's so pretty.
It is
Um,
pretty. It's nice. I like it. I'm very used to it. It's calming and soothing.
yeah, that's, and I just think it was like so perfect to what I'm talking about in the moment.
Okay.
And so when she was alive, she's very, very witchy. She's very, very spiritual. And whenever I would go over, me and her glued to each other. I never left that house without a gift. Like I've gotten jewelry boxes, I've gotten jewelry, I've gotten like hairpins, just colors, crayons, just anything that she thought I would like. Mija, do you want it? You can have it. Take it. Like she didn't care. Like it was mine. What was mine was hers. What was hers was mine. And when she passed away, my dad was put in charge of getting all of her things or their things, mainly my Theo's because her family is kind of like real anal towards mine.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, you could take your brother's stuff, but leave my sister's things. But my mom, ooh, I love my mama. She goes and she's like, fuck them. She starts jacking all my Thea's shit. So I got a set of runes. I got a set of playing cards that she's handwritten,
That's cool.
different meanings on all different sides. I got her small set of crystals, like in a gate slice, and just some other things that I don't even know. And then Egyptian tarot cards, just
That's
like
different. I'd like to check
yeah,
those out.
yeah. I don't even know. I call them Egyptian tarot cards. I'm not too sure because it's such a small deck. Like it's so
Is
small.
it more like an oracle deck or
It's quite possible, but I haven't done the Google Lens search thing that I typically do with literally everything.
gotcha.
I got this is where it gets a little even creepier, morbid dash what all that. I have a pair of her I have two pairs of her glasses,
Mm-hmm.
which in spiritual I told my mom I was like, this is wild. I go, I have a dead woman's glasses. And she was like, why do you got to say it like that? I was like, because I'm a witch. And that is how it is said.
That's
Lady, you're
funny.
judging me. But I told her, I was like, because my mom was kind of like deciding about getting interested in that, but she's obviously a Catholic still. And I tell her she could still be both. But when I was telling her about my tia's glasses, I was like, that's really cool. I think my tia was a gypsy, mind you, because she has like this tarot spread thing, and it's like Romani on it,
Oh,
Romani tarot spread. So
crazy.
yeah, I think she was a gypsy, or at least in her bloodline.
That's
Um,
cool.
right? That's what I said. But I was telling her like the glasses are really really cool because say like I have very much like self doubt in my craft. Like I'm very much like I don't know what I'm fucking doing. But
Just do it.
right,
It'll work
yeah,
out.
yeah, that's my motto. Just I got to do it. What's the point in worrying about doing it just to not do it and never get anything out of it? Just do it and fuck around and find out type shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But I told her I was like these glasses. I was like you don't get it. I was like I can actually put them into spell work and ask for her spirit or her energy to give me her perspective, which is highlighted by the
The
symbolism of
glasses.
glasses. Boom.
Yes.
Ooh, see, you got there too. Connection.
Love that.
Okay, okay.
I'm
We're
gonna have to
just
try to get us back on topic though, because I
yeah.
don't have too much time. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
love this
okay. It's okay.
conversation though.
I totally understand. I'm sorry I got on such a tangent.
No, it's okay. It happens. Don't worry. We haven't really talked about her enough to go too far into tangents yet.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know where we were. We started talking about her witchcraft, if she was an oracle or a fury
Fury.
or a witch or whatever she is, a muse. And muses traditionally they inspire others or objects or whatever. And she definitely does that. You see her doing that from the beginning. She's very intuitive and emotionally in touch with others. Like she says to like the moment she wakes up, she says to Caleb, "What was wrong with that girl? Like why did she do that?" And he's like, "Oh, she was just practicing target practice." And he's like, "No, she was like, "No, she ain't okay. She ain't right. Something's wrong with her." And I'm not going to join the school if you guys can't be honest with me.
That's what I really liked like her phrasing of that. Like I'm not gonna be here if y'all can't be open with me. But I feel like that's a double entendre because she wasn't open up. She wasn't honest with them really until she had to be at least.
Yeah, but again, she didn't have to be. And when she straight up asked the question, like they didn't lie to she didn't lie when she was asked the truth like they did.
I guess it was like omitting, so it wasn't
Like if
really a
they said, "Hey,
lie.
do you know about Malivore?" She would have been like, "Yeah, I do. Here's why."
I don't know. I
Because
don't
when they
know.
do, when they finally find out, that, like when they, because I thought like they were gonna turn her into a villain real quick,
So did
and
I. I was so worried about that.
but I'm like, it's so weird because it just doesn't seem like her. She's been honest and very caring, intuitive, empathetic to this point where you see her like make this golem out of Landon's bot, like the sculpture of
Ashes.
Landon, and you see her kill, try to kill Hope at least. But there were all reasons for that. There was reasons behind everything that she did. She was trying to help save everybody, but she wasn't being forward either. So it is kind of a double standard, I guess.
Yeah, but like you said, like she was doing them with reasons. I just wish she would have been more forthcoming. But at the same time, how in the hell are you supposed to be like, I was trapped inside a mud monster, and I need the one girl you don't want to die to die.
Yeah, really.
Pippi.
And it's interesting that Hope was like allowed to be born, and just like nature always creates these loopholes. It's like, is nature really the god of the world, like god of everything? It can do whatever it wants, it feels like.
Yeah, the laws of nature are unknowable and unbounded. I really feel like the laws of nature is like are truly limitless, unknowable, and unbound.
Yeah. I like that we see her because also you said she had like she stopped the frog in its tracks and that she did. That was really cool. But then you see her do even you see her like 5 minutes later when her grandmother is telling her that she's like, I don't want you to go, I don't want you to go. And her grandmother traps her in like the hovel that they're in or whatever the house is
Hmm.
called. Um and she just like says, And then Caleb, it was so cute. He's like, "You're a badass in the future. Don't worry." Not that she can hear
Mhm.
him. And then all of a sudden she's like, "I'm a badass now." He's like, "Oh shit, I recognize that look. What are you gonna do?" And she flings off the door that was like spelled.
Mhm.
And she's like, "No, I'm going to Malibor, not you." And she sacrifices herself for her whole village and her grandmother so she doesn't have to go. And she's a very young child at this point.
I thought that that scene was so impactful to her character. And I don't just mean like her character development. I mean like as a character trait from that moment. Like
Yes, you see it
it
all the way through. It's there all the time.
yeah, exactly. And like everyone will consider that like, oh, that helped shaped her. No, that's who she was. That wasn't a shaping moment. That was ingrained in her. That spirit, that vitality, that
And it's exactly what her
drive.
grandmother was going to do. And I think
Yeah.
that's what muses do. And she even says after that something like, now you see, like, I have to make sacrifice. We must make big sacrifices to keep the people we care about safe.
Hmm.
And she does that over and over. And it's just who she is,
I
period.
also like that scene because I think she knows her grandma is more of use to the village than she is at that moment.
Yes, that's what I thought as well.
So that's why she was okay. She knew her grandmother had the skills, the experience, the relationships
She's like,
already.
how am I going to
Whereas,
rule the village?
yeah, exactly. How am I going to help? I'm just a child. I know the village doesn't need me the way they need you. Yes, I'll develop those skills. Yes, I'll become that person in time, but it's better to give the villain a blank slate than give him someone with much more knowledge and skills.
Yeah. I think it's easy. Like, I think they just want to be. And she gives him like the vessel that creates light, like his life, that gives him like the opportunity to be able to create Landon,
Hmm.
because she was hoping for her own freedom. And then when she does that for him, he doesn't allow her to leave. So she's continued to be this prisoner, even though she helped him and was supposed to be free.
Do they ever go into how long she had been into hiding? Because they show the
No,
scene where
well, not that I know of.
she uses Leonardo da Vinci's human design, ironically human design. uh, I don't know the actual name of the drawing, but you know the one I'm talking about.
I do. I don't know what it's called either.
I think it's the Century Man or something. I don't know.
Mm,
I could totally be wrong, and I'm thinking of something from a video game or whatever. But that most famous drawing of that man and like the body parts extending, and she uses that as a way to capture him and escape, and then she goes into hiding and meets up with Leonardo da Vinci. So my question is, how did she have that drawing? And simultaneously, how did Leonardo da Vinci come up with that drawing?
well, Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519, so that was at least a good 500 years.
Was she okay? Yeah, that I get that. So she had to have spent time with him prior before his death.
So 600 years at least. I don't know, because I don't even remember what year. I don't know how she would have gotten it. She definitely says she spent time with him.
But that's after her captivity.
But, yeah, so I think that's why I thought that they were actually before, like, Silas. That's why I thought that Cleo was before Silas.
Hmm.
Especially if she
Interesting
was
questions.
working with the gods and stuff,
Hmm.
because they were like 4,000 years now, or even more. They're gods. They're
Yeah, I was like, I think they're like I think they kind of even say it like my age is infinite type thing.
yeah, 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 yeah.
My point was that I just found it very fascinating that she had the Da Vinci drawing, and then she meets Da Vinci.
Oh, so I didn't even catch that. That's what you're saying, that it was before she meets him.
Yeah.
Do you think she inspired him to make that drawing?
Yeah, I would say so if that's considering the timeline, because then it comes from her first.
Yeah,
And she
so
even
really, Da Vinci's just ripping her off.
oh, but he loved her so much, and she even says it like that's her first and only love. Those clips are fresh running through my mind. I really love the scenes with her and Da Vinci. I think they're so sweet.
Sorry, I'm trying to find like the timeline of when she's like what her time frame, like when she existed.
I get you.
Because
No,
now I'm curious.
it was a good question. I know it was my question. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I mean that's the fun thing about these discussions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you brings up things that you wouldn't necessarily think about with that unless you were talking about this in depth.
Yeah, especially with someone else who one understands the concepts and stuff, and two who equally has a like mind of wanting to get to the bottom and not just blindly accepting TV logic. I hate people who cannot think for themselves. Hate is a strong word. I can't stand them.
I was just thinking hate is a strong word when you said that, but I was like, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's more the concept rather than the legitimacy of the word. I don't. I try to stop using the word hate. I don't like it. I used to say hate a lot, and
It wasn't until I heard my kids say hate that I really, because my parents used to tell me it was a strong word and stuff, and I didn't care. And then I heard my kids say it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'll give you that one, mom, dad. Yeah, all right. I don't like it either.
So I guess they're like, they come from the same time. That doesn't make sense.
No, because she has to be older than Da Vinci. So then maybe you're right. Maybe she is a millennia at least, because that's at least what 600 years between the currents and Da Vinci. I think I'm doing that math right. No,
You know what I don't understand though? Why did she stay young?
Malivor's mud. I think.
Did they explain that? Because I couldn't figure that out either. I wish I had more time to watch this more through. Like I was just watching her scenes mostly.
It's okay. You did better than me. At least you actually tried to watch. I just did like a 40-minute video.
Hey, you still got the information. That's all that
I,
matters.
I downloaded it. Was it called? What was the question you just asked?
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even remember.
Oh my god, girl, me. I feel you. I told you I feel like we're on the same vibe today. You were like, I look like a mess. I was like, I could barely brush my hair today. The second you said, oh, we're not gonna do cameras, I was like, yes, girl after my heart.
I always give my guests the option, but I usually just leave mine on so they can see who I am and stuff. But I was like, I am not feeling it today.
No, I totally feel you. I would have done it too. Again, that's why I at least brushed my hair. I just was like, bleh. I know I look tired. Oh, good lord. Oh, we were talking about the her age and stuff and how she stayed young. That's what it was. How does she
I
still
mean,
look young?
yeah. So I guess it must have been Malibor's mud, right?
Yes, but also like to an extent, no, because she must have aged within Malivore because we see her as a like Malivore takes her as a child, and then we see her in like the Malivore cavity. I guess we'll call it cave cavity. I don't know. And she's the Cleo we've seen as a teenager that's millennia years old. So she
Yeah,
has to have grown
maybe just
up.
Muses. Maybe that's why her grandmother looks so young because Muses stop aging at a certain time or something.
That's a theory. Yeah, that works.
I'm
Or
not sure if
they
it's
just have extended youth, I guess.
maybe. But for millennials,
I don't think for millennials. I think if she would have
even
stayed in the on Earth and not Malivore, she would have aged gracefully like her grandmother. But
I really wanted a season 5 of Legacies because for me, season 4 finally started to get good.
yep, I agree. I was so agitated with the way it. I like the ending because it's a solid ending.
Well, they did it
I
on, they told them, like, this show might not go on, so make sure you don't leave it with a cliffhanger.
yeah, yeah. That's why it's a solid ending because it ties up everything in a semi satisfying way. However,
It's the
Die
most
Hard
satisfying
fans.
ending of all 3 shows, I in my personal
Oh,
opinion.
oh my God. Yes, I totally agree. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So off of Cleo, real quick, but like still in universe. How did you feel about Hope, the Hollow, and Klaus?
Hated it. I
Okay, how do
hated
you? Good.
I hated the whole storyline. I hated everything about it.
Wow. I I liked
I
it for the fact that she was of Haley's bloodline.
I like that too. I did like that part of it, but I hated how they dragged it. Like the way they ended the originals, I hated. And it had to do with the Hollow, and that's why I hate the Hollow.
What are your
I
feelings on Elijah?
They ruined his character.
Defamation.
I liked I don't know. They had him first of all, he's the only one who fought for Hope to like be alive, like out of the Michelsons in the beginning. And then she hates him by the end, and I get why she hates him. It's very justifiable. But it's just I just felt so bad for him because he's the only one that's like trying to keep everything together, and he sits by his brother time and time again for like his redemption. And Hope is finally in 15 years Hope is able to give that to him, if you want to call it that. But I just thought they all didn't need to die.
I agree. I agree. I saw this theory on Reddit that they said that because the Salvatore school is still in Mystic Falls and Matt Donovan, also fuck Matt Donovan,
Yes.
becomes the sheriff. Because every podcast needs to have that somewhere. Um, Matt Donovan becomes a sheriff and all that. That apparently the theory could go that he doesn't allow more than two Michelsons in Mystic Falls at a time.
I've never
And
heard this theory. I knew there was like a point where he wasn't allowing any vampires, but that ended quickly.
yeah, and as it should. Who are you to fucking control immortal
I know.
creatures?
Fuck
Fuck off.
Matt
As a
Damon.
human. Yeah, exactly. So again, this was a Reddit theory. And I kinda like it, but I also kinda don't because like he doesn't have that power or say even as the sheriff. Like even Caroline's mom was like, it's an animal attack because she can't control them. And she knew that.
Yeah, and he also, first of all, Hope, like, there's not really that many Michelsons left.
Yeah. I just, ooh, okay. Davina. How do you feel about Davina?
She's, I don't love her, but I like her and Cole's relationship.
Yeah,
I don't hate her either.
I think
I
she's a
think she,
mediocre witch at best.
I don't hate her.
I feel indifferent. I think her strength comes from the harvest, and that's it.
Yeah, she was definitely not as strong, but I just like that I like her and Cole.
I agree. I think there's so okay, but do you like Cole in the Caleb body, or do you like Cole in
Way
Cole's
better.
body?
I mean, Cole is definitely better in Caleb's body all
To
on every
preface,
floor.
this is not the Caleb that from Legacies. This
Yes,
is
yeah, I
the
forgot. It
disclaimer
wasn't
for
even.
the people who listen to your podcast.
Thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome. I got you.
Yeah, but I like him in Caleb's body. I think the actor did a much better job being Cole than the original.
I
Where like
agree.
when you see Rebecca, like the girl Maisie who plays
Mhm.
her is like just as good as Claire Holt playing Rebecca, but Nathan is it Nathaniel? Which one's Nathaniel? No, Daniel does a better job than Nathaniel playing Cole.
Oh man, I could not with these names. Woo.
So Daniel is the guy who plays the witch body,
Okay.
Caleb, and then Nathaniel is the original Cole.
I like the original Cole being Hope's uncle. I like
Yeah,
the
I like
Caleb
those movies.
Cole as Davina's uh significant other.
I love the parallels of like Davina saving Hope and Hope saving Davina with the unlinking spell.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Also, I like the fact that wow, there was this weird lineage. They're each other's nieces and
I know.
cousins or something.
They're
And
like,
aunt.
which one's who's aunt? Because
Yeah.
technically Davina would be Hope's aunt if she was married to Cole, and Hope is siblings with Marcel, which is basically Davina's dad. So
Yeah.
she could also be her aunt.
It makes me die. I love that.
But let's get back
Also,
to Cleo.
okay, this sounds good.
We should have just did the originals.
I just wanted to get through like a synopsis of like each of them and like get like a tit for tat, but I'm totally ready to go back to Cleo.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time, or I would love to do this. I would love to do it more. I just want to get through Cleo at least, and then we can talk about anything else.
No, I got you. I'm back on track with you.
So but like it's interesting because when she's in his like whatever in his body, or because like you can see like Josie, because Josie is seeing this through a memory, and even Josie is like terrified that he just ate this frog that she made.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, that's awful. He's just making, and she's calling them like he wanted me to create, but these are my friends. This is how I made friends. Like she literally made her friends because she was imprisoned and trapped.
But at the same time, she's feeding him the exact thing he needs. Therefore, he's getting stronger.
Yeah.
Also, I like the fact that the first thing she creates is a frog.
Yes, I did too because they showed the frog running like
Yep.
and how she stopped it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I thought that was like a sneaky little callback, and I don't know if a lot of people acknowledge that, but people
That's the
should
first thing
acknowledge
I
that.
noticed, honestly. So
That's
hopefully, I mean, I'm sure others did, but you never know what people notice.
true.
But
True.
it's weird because she's using like his mud to make that, and then she's turning them alive. And
Yeah, she's
everything,
adding her own powers to his mud.
yeah, it's like, and so he keeps absorbing everything that, and I can't remember why Malivore was created. Do you know?
So Malivore was created to be the destroyer of all monsters, and he was created with the blood of a wolf, a werewolf, the witch, and a vampire. So she could not consume them, but the witch, werewolf, the original what triad, that's what they were called, the original triad, uh created him because there were dragons and just all of these other creatures that were plaguing the areas that these witch werewolves and vampires were living in. So they made the golem to absorb them and eat, to preserve and extend human life so that they could also be preserved and extend their lives.
And that's why they need one. That's why they needed one with like one being with all three,
Yeah, yeah, the
because she can.
loophole, because he can not consume.
Do you think Hope can procreate as a vampire?
I don't
Random.
think she should be able to procreate as a vampire. I don't. That's the right way to say it. Good job. But I don't think she should be able to. If they do, I think I'll be kind of teed off.
See, the only thing I could think of is that there's no one else like her, and her father was able to procreate. So it's possible, I guess, but it would be weird. It's already weird.
Yeah. Well, I accepted Caroline's pregnancy.
Yep.
But once you're a vampire, your womb is dead.
Well, it's not dead. So, but the your eggs are dead. But then again, so was Klaus's sperm was supposed to be dead.
I think if they wanted to give Hope children the way Alaric was like, she might want kids someday. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of invasive, but they should have asked her. This is getting
They
way
should
too
have
serious
frozen
and
her
medical.
eggs.
That's what I was getting at. They should have asked
100%.
her. They should have asked her, do you want kids? If so, there are avenues. And then take her. Obviously, it's a TV show. They're not going to get into this like that. But
I wish they did though, because that would have been
me
cool.
too.
I wish
Yeah,
they did it with Estelle too, even.
yeah, it would have given her a chance to preserve her family's legacy.
Because like we know that wombs can hold babies if like vampire wombs can hold babies.
Yeah,
If they were
well,
so if they made like an embryo and then transferred it in there, I don't see what the problem would have been.
yeah, I could have accepted that, but
See,
when I mean when the womb,
I could accept her having her own babies just because Klaus did, and she was like the only one of their kind. She was born a vampire, like with vampire blood in her system at least.
okay, but do you think like she would have to procreate with a vampire? I mean, not a vampire because I don't think that would
Maybe a
work.
wolf
Yeah, I was gonna say a wolf or a different witch.
or a wolf witch. I
Ooh.
really, you know what I'm mad about? That we didn't see one of those. We didn't see anybody who was half witch, half werewolf, which is so possible, and they could have like really gotten on top of that.
Yeah, the main one they did was a vampire werewolf as a hybrid.
Yeah, which makes even like because vampire like because you can be born a witch and a werewolf, so I don't know why they didn't at least give us one of those. We got
Yeah.
heretics, but not friggin' witches.
Ooh, werewitches. That one's nice. Which I think would be so much better because when you get your vampirism, you lose your witch abilities, but you wouldn't have to lose your witch abilities if you're a werewolf
Yeah,
because
because well, they're both born. I mean, technically, witches created werewolves though, so
well, witches also created vampires.
I know, but they didn't create themselves.
Okay.
Is what I meant. Well, I guess they did in one way or the other, but
I think it's kind of the irony of the
here
what
we
was it
are off
called?
topic again.
I know.
It's so hard.
It really is. Okay, Cleo. Welcome back. Welcome. We'll be good girls. Welcome back.
um, I don't even know where we were though with her. Yeah, I just like I don't even know. But I like that I'm gonna say one more thing about Hope. I like that she's able to get into the gods' minds. I know we already said that. And that but that changes her from a muse to a fury. And I don't really get what that meant. And I wish they talked about that a little bit more. Because Aurora is able to steal Cleo's muse powers in her subconscious when she's on the Calamus route.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they brought Aurora back also.
Oh, me too. And I love her
Sacrifice?
growth. No, her growth. Her sacrifice gets me.
You don't like
But
it?
no, I like it. I don't
Okay.
like it in the sense that she's like kaput, but but I like the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
I what I really enjoy about Aurora coming back is her time with Lizzie.
Yeah. Her and Lizzie, I love Lizzie. Lizzie's one of my favorite characters. Um, a lot of people like don't like her that much, but even with all I love that she's a character that we see with like bipolar and just like and so is Aurora. I love how they
Mm-hmm.
both have a chemical imbalance in their brain, and it's just talked about and it's accepted. And it took society a while to get there, but it's so common now that people just talk about it. And I like how both of their characters connected like that, are connected like that.
Yeah, that's why I like their time together, because it really gave them each the perspective of what it looks like to be on the outside,
Yeah.
instead of like constantly feeling like, oh, everyone's seeing me this way, everyone's seeing me this way. They actually have a whole bodily representation of how people are interpreting you. And it's kind of jarring for each of them, and they don't like it, but that is what fosters their growth.
Yeah. I love Aurora when she like I have such a hard time saying her name. Sorry.
It's okay. You're doing wonderful.
Thank you. So I love her and Klaus's relationship in the first place, and I know it's toxic and crazy, but it's just like entertaining.
Hmm.
And I love that they carried a torch for each other for a millennia. They both
Hmm.
like held on to the love that they had for each other, and that was the first human that like Klaus loved after becoming a vampire.
Yeah.
It was like his sign of like I can love still
And be loved.
and be loved. Yes.
I I really personally like, I found some information on the Furies or whatever.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
if we want to go back to that in a little bit, but still with Aurora, what I really liked, aside from like, one, I like their romance, but I also just like Aurora's character, individual as an individual, because like you talked about her having bipolar, and Lizzie having it as well. But the difference is, I don't remember if Tristan and Aurora are twins, or if Tristan's older.
I think Tristan's the older brother,
That's what I thought too. I wasn't too positive.
but I'm not either. I'm gonna Google that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But if they're twins, regardless, then like it's a direct parallel to
Yeah, that would
Josie
be.
and Lizzie. And regardless, the whole sibling relationship, with having one being more considered the rock, Tristan and Josie, versus one being the chemically imbalanced Aurora and Lizzie, is the difference in the siblings that each of them had. Because Tristan treated his sister like
Yeah,
a
he's the older
dog.
brother. He's the older brother.
Yeah, okay. But Tristan treated her like a dog, like kennel her up, cage her away. Like, I can't be bothered.
Yeah,
Whereas
and I think
Josie,
that
like fosters compassion and understanding for her sister too. So much so that she,
sacrifices herself
yeah, exactly.
to the
So I
other
just,
extreme.
yeah, exactly, to the other extreme. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That's true. I really like that.
So for the Furies, it says traditionally Furies are figures from Greek mythology who punish crimes against the natural order. They are often depicted as relentless avengers of wrongdoings, particularly familial transgressions. And
They're kind of like
then,
Deadpool, but
like
different.
what?
Like Deadpool, like the
Yeah,
anti-hero.
yeah, I like that. And then, as a Fury, Cleo possesses abilities linked to vengeance and retribution. However, she uses her powers for a broader purpose within the school. So I guess Furies are kind of just like the guardians of the right versus wrong.
Yeah. Um, but they do wrong things too. A lot of times I've heard like Furies will do, I don't know about in this show specifically, but in other shows they will do a lot of terrible things to punish terrible people. So that's why I said like the Deadpool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think I don't know. I don't get how that makes like because now you can control the gods. That's what were the gods doing wrong things and they had to stop them? Is that where this comes from, you think?
Yeah. So if gods were given the infinite power, to do whatever the
I
hell they
also really
wanted.
liked Ken and Aurora as well. Sorry.
Who?
I just had to say that real quick.
No, who did you say?
Ken and Aurora.
Who?
Ken
Who's the
is the
first one?
god.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing
They,
Penn, and I'm just fresh off of watching Bridgerton, so I'm thinking you're talking about like Penelope from Bridgerton, and I was like,
I need to watch that. I have not
you
watched any of it, and I need
do.
to.
Don't watch it with your children. It is spicy.
I heard. I haven't watched it yet, but I will eventually.
My fiance got into it. He was like obsessed with getting to part two of Bridgerton, or season part two of season three of Bridgerton. It was hilarious. He was upset that he had to wait 2 weeks, and I was like, yes. But crud. What was I saying? The Furies. If gods were given the ability to be like have that infinite power that they're so often considered to have, because compared to mortals, they have that.
Yeah,
But
gods take
Furies,
advantage of their power for sure.
yeah. So Furies are set to be their repercussion system. It's like the checks and balances of like the government.
Yeah, no, they definitely. It's like nature's loophole, uh,
Yeah,
um,
exactly. So
where they just.
they essentially intervene whenever a god or godlike entity is like becoming too powerful or too extreme. They're the consequences.
Yeah. So that's I like that though. The moment that like I don't understand why she wasn't utilized more in taking them down though. If she could get into their heads because she was still alive.
Yeah, I agree. I think they underutilized her and like was leaving
Made it all
everything
about
to
hope.
Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which in a way I understand because Hope was technically the more durable out of the two. But
Yeah,
like you
that was
diminished
forged with
her.
god magic. Like that weapon, that's why Aurora jumped in front of Ken because the weapon was forged with god magic which could kill Hope. She would have died if she got stabbed with that.
Hmm. I
And then
also like the fact that Aurora just does it so like Lizzie isn't the one who has to sacrifice herself.
yeah, I like that I like the whole I like that it goes back to Klaus. I like that it goes back I was a jealous bitch and I couldn't accept that you were the one who made your father be good and not me. And
Yeah,
I did
that's
love your I did love your father.
right. Like I've spent so long being a catty bitch about everything. I'm done. You can have your dad,
I mean,
even
he
though
did,
he's gone.
but yeah. She's actually like, I'm gonna go be with him now. Bye. Peace.
Right now, I'm gonna go be with him so he can make me happy a second time. Do you think she made it to the afterlife,
I don't know.
or Tristan? Maybe.
Well, Tristan had to have died when Elijah died, and before he gets put into the pendant. I would assume.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to know though about that is like, what happens like if so Elijah's whole sire line was dead, but like,
Hmm.
what about like if he had sired more vampires in that time frame? Like, would they have like because he came back to life? Like, so what? Does he have a new sire line? Is he able to? Does his old sire line come back? Like, I don't. It was confusing.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Wait, Elijah comes back to life?
Elijah
Only
gets put
Cole.
in Freya's pendant. Cole also comes back to life. And even Cole comes back to life. Like, what happens with their newer sire line after they come back?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Is it still tied in the same way as it would have been in their original
Yeah,
life? That is interesting. I didn't consider that, and I should have. And I'm very intrigued by this question.
it's
I
something
don't
that I
know.
wonder about a lot, but I really don't know.
Well,
I,
Cole was kind of nuts. So the reason had the sire line he did was because he just willy nilly that shit.
yeah, and then you can't control what your sires do either because they're all connected under that one sire line. Like Damon is responsible for Caroline. I mean, Catherine's responsible for all of them, really, but it's
Oh,
just like
that's such a
because
good question.
Because like Cole's still around. Like if he dies, do his new vampires go with him? The only
I would say so. I would say
And
that the
does Hope
roles,
have her own sire line?
yes, because we see that with
We don't see that though.
well, we see it when she turns Lizzie, when Lizzie becomes a
No,
heretic.
well that's different though because when Elena is sired to Damon, he's not an original. He doesn't have his own sire line where every vampire dies with him. It's through an emotional connection that they had
Okay.
prior to. And even the sire bond with werewolves is different because the sire bond with werewolves is for a reason. It's because they free them from the pain.
I see
And
what you're
then we
talking about.
see and then we see that Haley is unsired, but as a werewolf and as a vampire. But it doesn't really make sense because she has other sired werewolves. She has other hybrids that are sired to her.
But I thought her sire line wasn't so much through like her turning anybody.
Well, because her sire line is through because like we
The-
see Dwayne take blood from Haley when Tyler Lockwood goes to New Orleans to prove his theory about Klaus using Hope to make more hybrids.
Mhm.
And we see him come in and he's like she's gonna use your baby, and Haley's like, help me protect him, and then she's like, Dwayne, kill him, he's gonna hurt me, and Dwayne listens to everything that Haley's saying, so it kind of seems like he's
Oh.
sired to her or the baby that's inside of her. And then Klaus later on sires hybrids to her. So a hybrid sire is different than a sire line and a sire bond. They're all three different things.
Man, that's
Very
this is a
confusing.
topic. This is like an in-depth discussion. This is
I
like
know,
I
maybe we
need to
should have done
do
this.
research.
Um, well, because we see so Haley confuses me because first of all, I guess it could be because she really liked being a wolf. She never called it a curse like Tyler did. She embraced the wolf lifestyle. She really enjoyed it. She didn't really So maybe that's why she didn't have to break like the sire bond of
Hmm.
from Hope
Yeah.
when she was like the hybrid one where you owe them something for breaking the curse of the sun and the moon for not having to turn every month. But I don't get like why she's unsired as a vampire. Because her heart, well, Jackson's heart technically, because it was the same heart from marriage, their
Yeah.
little ritual thing, is like what breaks Klaus's sire line.
Oh man, you're getting into stuff that's like evading my memory.
Sorry.
No, it's
All right.
okay. Like I said, like it really makes me want to go in and like rewatch all the stuff and get fresh eyes on it again because it's been a while. I think it's probably been like a year since I've seen everything. Everything. But
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, I think I told you this before, uh I ended up watching the whole universe in reverse order.
You did say that. I like
So
I think that's kind of cool.
right, so like again, so I'm a witchy individual, so anything that goes into like witchcraft or like this area of sci-fi like immediately intrigued. So I ended up
Me
going
too.
from like Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and needing a
Did
new
you like
show.
that?
I did actually. I like that it got gothic and dark and it
It just
wasn't
didn't
so
hit
friendly.
home like the original Sabrina.
I think because it's not so like teeny bop.
Yeah,
And I get that. I really do get that for people who don't like it. I think that's a totally valid opinion. Um, but for me, being interested in the next layer of what it could have been is what intrigued me
that's cool. That's a good
because I
perspective.
really like that they get into like the Eldritch terrors and
I didn't watch it all the way.
oh my gosh, they okay. So you know how like you like the original, right? They
Hmm.
actually have towards the end where they bring the original ants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she ends up going into an alternate universe and she goes onto the show, the TV set show,
I
and
like that.
she's an actress. She's actually like living as an actress, and she's like hella confused, and she's like auntie, or like they're like, oh, Sabrina, and they're like, oh, you're the new hire, and she's like, new hire, what's going on? And Salem the cat
Yeah.
is very much Salem the cat from the show, as much as he can be, and he's actually the director,
Very cool.
and that's based off the Eldritch terrors and stuff.
Hmm.
So it gets, and for that I really like, I know this is off topic and we'll jump right back after I swear. What I really liked is that she ends up having two versions of herself. She
That's
ends
kind
up
of cool.
creating her own paradox. So I thought that was really freaking interesting. But we're not talking about Sabrina, like I said. Yeah, so I moved from Sabrina, and I was like, I need a new show to watch, and then like Legacies popped up. And I didn't think in my head that Legacies actually meant it was a legacy of something. I just thought like, this is a show called Legacies. So I started it and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. This is so cool. And then as I'm watching it, or as I finished watching it, it was like, consider this, or you might like this. And then the originals popped up and I was like, well, that's ironic. So I started watching the originals, and I didn't even like it at first because thought it was so fucking melodramatic in the beginning. And I just couldn't. I was like, this is
What
so
made you go
boring.
back and watch it?
Elijah.
That was a great answer.
A little bit, because I kind of had the house for Elijah, but also his character, the devotion that he had towards his brother, is kind of how I have always
Did
felt.
you realize that it was Hope's story when Elijah is telling Haley, like Klaus's story? Did you realize the baby was Hope?
Yes.
Like, when did you put that? Okay, I was gonna say, when did you put that together?
Yeah, I caught on pretty soon. I also just
Joseph Morgan's in the last episode of Legacies.
mhm.
So, like, did you recognize him? Because he looks very different in that episode.
Yes, because I had watched certain episodes of the Vampire Diaries prior. So
Oh,
I
okay.
tried to get into the Vampire Diaries at first because
Did
my
you
best
just see
friend.
it like on TV or something, or?
No, okay, I'm very much the type of person who will not watch something just because there's hype. Like, I didn't even get into 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah,
For like,
I still haven't watched Game of Thrones because of that.
oh my god, no, same. I ended up getting into it like years later, but like my fiance was like done with it by like the time I got invested into season 3, and so we never continued watching it, and I kind of just had to accept that died. But I never watch anything that currently has hype unless like you can genuinely get my gauge. Like I said, with 13 Reasons Why, like eventually I had to cave, and I was like, why is everyone fucking talking? But like, I didn't watch Teen Wolf when it came out. I didn't watch The Vampire Diaries when it came out. I didn't watch. I just didn't watch anything when it came out. Like, I
I
always
watched
wait.
the first season of The Vampire Diaries when it came out, and then I didn't watch any of it up until like a year ago. I was like, I'm gonna watch it all right now, and then I saw Klaus, and I was like, okay, gonna watch this too. I found out about the originals, and I was like, yes,
So, which is
and
your favorite out of the three?
the originals.
Me too.
I love the originals. It just has like more adult storylines, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't care for Legacies as much.
Valid.
I don't feel like they really knew, like they didn't try to belong to the rest of the universe.
I think I put Legacies over Vampire Diaries because the modernity of it. I think the Vampire Diaries, the original, um, of the three series, was just so teenage drama, and
It was.
as an adult I just can't. My brain is just like, y'all are stupid.
I still just love them from the nostalgia. They like started it for me. Everything in this show though, like I'm glad I waited so long to watch it because everything in all of the series has like some type of symbolism to my life now. It was like meant for me to find now.
No, I'm totally with you. I tried to restart watching the Vampire Diaries from the beginning, so I could actually get the fucking show from the beginning to end the way it's supposed to. But I ended up changing my internet provider, so I ended up losing my HBO subscription.
Rough.
Yeah, so I was like, well, fuck me, like go kick sand. Like I was so upset.
That sucks.
But I think this. I know technically the originals bleeds into the ending of Vampire Diaries, but I still believe that Vampire Diaries should be watched first.
See, so I watched them first. I watched it first, and then I knew it was coming because, like, I knew Klaus was going to be leaving. And when the originals episode came out, I literally watched them the way that they would be aired. It was a pain in the ass to go back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah, I so want to do that. I think it's so worth it though.
So I could like watch them like what was going on in each universe because they're so simultaneous.
Mhm.
And then sometimes, every once in a while, there's like a crossover character or something.
How did you feel about Caroline and Stefan?
I fucking hate them.
Me too.
I don't hate them, okay? I think they had some cute moments, I guess, but I think it was forced.
I do. I'm with
I
you.
think that if they had hopped on the opportunity earlier, maybe it would have been they would have had a better chance.
I think what bothers me is that one, clearly Stefan was still hooked up on Elena, like he couldn't get over her.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
But I still genuinely believe, like, even if he noticed that Caroline was like falling for him,
I'm just saying, I know he didn't even notice it. Like, how do you like what?
yeah, like, and she wasn't subtle. She liked him from the jump, even when she was human.
And he didn't. And he's just like, no, like
Yeah,
you and I, Caroline, will never happen.
like he totally just like, I'm
And she's just
sorry.
like, he's a Gemini. We're planning a June wedding. And I don't think Stefan's a Gemini in any way, shape, or form, other than the fact he can't control his personalities.
That's a good one. That's a good tie-in.
But I just hate that. Like, I'm a Caroline shipper. I love Klaus and Caroline. I don't know how you feel, but I do feel that way. Um, and I always will.
I don't think personally. I have a question for you, but personally, I don't think Klaus should have been with anybody.
I
And
mean,
that's not to say that he shouldn't have found love or anything like that. No, I think his love should have been his daughter.
and I think it was. I think that first of all, he met Caroline before his daughter, but yeah, I think he loved his daughter, and I think that he knew. I think he ultimately killed himself for his daughter because not because of the hollow. I think it was more because he was afraid of what his existence would do to her.
Yeah, I get behind that. What my thing with the Caroline relationship, does it not bother you that she was a literal child and he's over a millennial old?
I mean, it's a vampire show. I don't really expect the only one exception to this is maybe like Marcel and Rebecca, but even them, I still enjoyed their adult relationship.
That bothers me too. So incestuous. I don't obviously try very hard to think about either of those aspects, just
It's
because
not. I wouldn't say it's incestuous, but it's like child groomy.
yeah, okay, that, well, I consider it incestuous just because that's her brother's adopted son.
Yeah, kind of, but not by blood.
Yeah, well, that's why it's
We don't even
kinda,
we don't
it's
even
like,
know how much of it she was daggered for, you know?
that
Um
is true. But to be able to fall in, I don't know. We're not gonna get into that. Like I said,
I
they're not
know.
like heavy
It's a
thoughts.
sore. I
They're
actually
not.
truly enjoy
They're
them.
not like heavy thoughts. Like I genuinely like.
You know what's crazy to me though is that the most hated relationship is the one that's from the like 20-year difference with Caroline and Alaric. But everybody
Oh
gets
my
behind
god.
these human vampire relationships of hundreds of years. Damon and Elena,
Yeah.
Stefan and Elena, Stefan and Caroline.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
also
like
did not like Caroline and Alaric, but I also don't think their relationship is like
I don't think it was
uh
real, but it was just weird.
yeah, definitely it was very uncomfortable vibes. But I think what made it better was knowing that it wasn't like a sexual based relationship.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm gonna like as a parent, it's hard not to love people who care for your kids that don't have to care for your kids. First of all,
Yeah.
she made it possible for him to even have these children still.
Yeah, because Joe was gone. And
And secondly, like she stuck around and cared for them like they were her own.
oh my god, when he tells
I fucking hate it.
you know where I'm gonna go with?
I do. I'm sorry. Go ahead, say
When he's
that.
like, my kids and mine and Joe's kids, and he like throws it in her face. Like I wanted to jump through that screen and like choke hold him and like put him
Girl,
to
me
sleep. Like
too.
you shut up. You shut up. That is the only mother they have ever known. You don't get to
I
take that
like that
away
they
from
bring
her.
Joe into Legacies as a Malibor monster though. So and she's like, "Oh my god." Josie's like, "I think that's Biomom. It's her."
And then Lizzie's like straight contempt. Your
I
bio mom, like attitude.
I know. I think she's like so hurt and like that she's like abandoned and she's like, "You could never replace my real mom."
I also really like the fact that the twins are complete like reworked of their bio moms. I call obviously Caroline's not their biological mother, but like biologically Lizzie represents Caroline and Josie represents Joe.
Totally.
And I
Oh,
really love that they're fraternal twins in that sense.
and I like that they are I like that, like they do. I like that because, like, a lot of people are like, "How does Lizzie look like Caroline?" And I'm like, "Well, look at Liv, like, and Luke. They're blonde.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
that didn't
true.
come from Caroline. There's lots of, and Alaric doesn't exactly have dark hair,
You're not wrong.
but it's like, but nurture. I like the whole how she is more like Caroline.
Yeah, her temperament, her attitude,
Yeah, her bossiness, her
franticness. Oh my
insecure.
gosh. Yeah, her insecurities.
And that's like
Oh,
when they bring Sebastian, that desiccated vampire, in with Lizzie, and they were really just trying to like do the whole Klaus and Caroline thing again. They were trying
oh,
so hard
absolutely.
to
I didn't
recreate
really
that.
like it. I like Sebastian. I just don't like how infatuated they made Lizzie.
I mean, I think that she's a teenage girl. She's just desperate to find out who she is, and she thinks she can do that by being loved by another guy. Dating is new. I think she's just trying to find somebody to make her feel whole because she doesn't. Because she's infatuated with Raph when he first shows up, and like any guy. And poor Josie just gets no dibs.
Oh yeah. I feel that. I feel Josie.
And I actually would have liked to see Raph and Josie together, but then
Really?
I would at first like maybe within the first couple of episodes, and then they kind of like bring Hope into it, and it gets like I don't know weird.
I didn't like Raph and Hope.
I didn't either. I didn't like it at all.
It's just so weird.
They were trying to do the love triangle thing that had worked pretty successfully with the other two shows with the brothers and a girl, but in this show, like the girl was the main, like wasn't like she's the one who people I don't know. It was like a reverse kind of.
Yeah. I don't I don't know.
Who do you ship Hope with over everybody?
Mm, Cleo.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like she was the one that really drove Hope to be better and continuously supported her. She wasn't so passive the way Landon was.
Yeah, so many people are Handon fans. I'm not. I don't love Hope and Landon. I'm a hissy. I like Hope and Lizzie. I think they should have been something.
I kind of like them too. I like their demeanor with each other. It's kind of like a Damon Elena vibe I get from them because like they have
Yeah.
like a level of contempt for each other. but also mutual understanding and fondness.
Yeah. I think they
Sorry.
overplayed Damon and Elena. I think, like, I was really mad that they put them together because of a sire bond. I mean, even if it wasn't because of the sire bond, they didn't need to do that. I only have like 5 more minutes though, anyways, that I can do this.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know if there's anything else that you needed to say or wanted to say, or
Mm, I'm trying to think of something completely inconspicuous that would catch you off guard as a final question, like a kicker of a question
give me all you got.
in 5 minutes or less. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah, that.
Okay, last thing, treatment of Bonnie.
Oh, that's a topic I could talk about forever. She got every shit end of the stick, every single one. From never having, like, she never gets to date like him. I think that they should, honestly, I think they should have like killed off Elena when she left the show, when Nina Dobrev left the show, and I think that they should have let Bonnie and Damon be a couple because Bonnie never gets any happy endings, and then they finally give her Enzo because they couldn't give her Damon, and he fucking dies, and
I agree.
it's just
I
awful.
I do like her and Damon together, because
They
she's
have a lot of
low.
platonic moments, but like they could, and I think that has more to do with her friendship to Elena than it has to do with anything else. Like, she respects Elena, but if Elena was dead, they could have mourned Elena together and became closer and became romantic
Mhm.
with each other.
See, I'm with you. I'm with you. That is how I wanted things to play out. Not because I really did not like Elena all that much. I don't think
Nobody
that she
does.
was
She
all
sucks.
hoity toity. She's all hoity toity, high and mighty, and like,
Her and Matt Donovan should have
huh.
ended up together. They're both whiny little bitches.
Oh my God, yes. I thought they were totally suited each other. They should have stayed together. They could have had the little break where Stefan was intriguing her. I get that. I get that. Enticed by the new dude. But
Who do
Damon,
you
get
like
a
with
fucking
Stefan?
grip. Who do I like with Stefan? I hate to say it, but Lexi, and I hate to say it because I know Lexi would never see him that way, considering that she's kind of like big sistered him.
Yeah.
But I
A
can
lot of
just
people
see the
say
connection.
that. A lot of people do say that. I don't feel that. You know what? I really wanted him to end up with Catherine. And technically he does. And no.
Yeah, I can see
Um,
him and Catherine having actually had worked out. There's this theory. This will be, I think, the last thing because you have to leave here.
yeah, I do.
But
I
there's
do.
there's this theory that Catherine was, because they're doppelgangers. That Catherine was meant for Stefan, not Elena, and
Well,
that what
Well, Catherine was meant for somebody else that was like a doppelganger in her time, actually.
well, the doppelgangers aren't always born completely matched. They could be like apart like that.
Do they say that for sure? Because I don't recall that. Because
Maybe that's speculation. Maybe I can
I'm pretty sure that like
give
Tom and
that grace.
Elena,
Tom
remember Tom?
Avery.
Yeah, him and Elena,
Yeah.
they are born to meet each other in the same era.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna get at because he was a paramedic and she wanted to be a doctor.
You know what's interesting
What?
is that Stefan wanted to be a doctor,
Oh, really?
and Elena wanted to be a writer. Yet Elena goes to med school, and Stefan writes her story.
Oh, that's actually kind of romantic. I like that. I did not know that.
I'm
And
sorry, but I do have to go. I like that too. I picked up on that like pretty early on, honestly, like when I first watched it. And I was like, wow, they really should have been Endgame.
I can see it.
um, because even the Delana reunion is awful. Like I hate it because like the actors at that point probably were so estranged.
Yeah, like the same connection's not there.
Yeah, it was very weird. They should have just let her go.
I agree.
But I am gonna go. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you ever want to be on another episode, let me know.
Absolutely.
This
Um,
was a fun time.
Send me whenever you get it all posted up and edited out. send me the link and I will totally go check out the podcast. I want to hear how I sound.